Welcome back to Texas Platinum, episode 65. We are excited because we have some football this weekend with the spring game finally here, and just so much to unpack, so much to see on Saturday. Hopefully a lot of questions answered, but first of all, we'd like to ask y'all to subscribe and comment and like everything because we love that. And we're on the push for 3K subscribers by the Arkansas game, which is 9/11, I believe. So
Yep.
we're kind of plateauing right now in terms of subscribers, but that's kind of because our fault because we haven't been producing a lot of content. So we'll try to ramp it up for y'all. But yeah, please subscribe. And today what we're going to do really is go through a wish list that we've kind of been crafting out this entire week of what we want to see in the spring game. We're not going to really go through all the roster and speculate everything like we've been doing. We're going to kind of just go, like what we want to see, and then we're going to go back and revisit like these bullet points that we have laid out in the recap and kind of grade from there. So that's kind of going to be the format, and I think it'll be a doozy. So let me pass this over to Trevor and get us going, Trevor. With I don't know, what are some of the major things that you have listed out that you want to see on Saturday when Texas, we see the Sark era officially start, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, there's a multitude of things that we're looking for, and kind of how we broke down this list is by positions. So we'll kind of start with quarterback and work our way through all the way up until special teams. But before that, in terms of this game as a spring game, the format is going to be it's looking like Sark has divided the team into two separate teams instead of doing ones versus twos or ones versus ones. I think that should be a pretty good format, kind of allow for fair play and allow not the stars to just dominate the twos and not the twos to struggle against the stars. It'll be a little bit more even and kind of mix it up and allow those second stringers to shine more so versus really being overly challenged. Madrid, do you feel like that's a good way for spring game to be formatted?
I think I like it this way better than ones or twos, because I mean, when you go ones versus twos, you're like, I hope you're beating up on your twos right now.
Right.
But when you go like mix them up like this, you just get a better feel for the team, and it's just more talent. It's probably dispersed upon them too. So yeah, just better competition, and better for us too to actually pick things apart.
Good stuff. I'll pass it back to you then, Myers. Let's get into these positions. We'll start out with quarterback. What's kind of one thing that you want to see between most notably Casey Thompson and Hudson Card?
Right. Well, obviously, I want to see them and both feel good about them leaving the game. Like, these guys we can win with in the fall. I mean, that's obvious. I want to see them, command the offense, move the offense, set up their receivers, look good in the pocket, avoid pass rush and stuff like that. But, like, on the other hand, I really just want to see very competitive quarterback play on Saturday. We kind of disagreed on this, Trevor, but I don't want to see Casey or Hudson run away with the job on Saturday. I mean, obviously they won't run away, but I don't want to see, Casey completely outplay Hudson or vice versa, especially not vice versa, just because of the state of the quarterback room, because it's a heated battle. And behind them is, like we've said, a lot of unproven commodities. So I really want to see this battle continue into fall, into the game one, just so because if Card just lights it up and it's just clear like Card's better on Saturday, and then the fan base starts just, ooh, Card, and then Casey starts hearing that, then, Casey's paid his dues here, and if he wants to transfer because he feels like he's going to get beat out, then I'm sure he would, and you can't blame him for that. So, and I don't think we can afford that coming into year one with Sark at all, because, we're one injury away from having Wright in there, the freshman, so. Yeah. My main focus really is I want to see competitive quarterback battle. I want to see them go back and forth. I mean, the teams are split up, so we should see, like pretty even display. It's going to be a lot of hype on who goes out with Bijan, who's on Bijan's team, because that'll kind of show. I mean, it won't really show who the first guy is taking snaps, but I don't know.
Something to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. It'll give us stuff to talk about. But yeah, I just want to see who commands the offense better, and I want to see a competitive race that goes back and forth. And yeah,
Madrid, you want to touch on that at
Yeah,
all?
just slightly. I think I kind of disagree with both of you guys in the sense that I think you Trevor, you want Casey to really
Yeah, and I'll
pop, right?
touch on that after you.
Yeah. I just want one of them to pop, kind of. I think because worst case scenario going into this game is both of them look a little shaky, and we're kind of like twiddling our thumbs, like, oh man, like, are both of them not good enough? So I would at least want one to pop. I really don't care who it is. I have confidence in both of them right now to be like leaders of this team and command this offense. So yeah, I to put it short, really, just one of them to pop because I want something we can talk about, and maybe I don't know, maybe it inspires more of the battle between both of them before one hopefully doesn't transfer out. Trevor.
Let me explain my logic for why I want Casey in particular to really kind of dominate the spring game. Of course, it'd be nice to have both of them dominate. Myers, your situation is probably best, but looking at it from obviously the perspective of a fan and someone that wants this team to be as complete as it possibly can be, if Card goes out and looks even a little bit better than Casey, to me, that is giving Casey potentially red flags like, hey, this guy's only going to get better. He's not going to get worse over the summer. He's going to get better. I feel like the writing is going to be on the wall after this game that whoever, and of course it won't be settled at that point. The starter, I guarantee you the starter is not going to be named until the first game, because Sark is going to try to keep these guys as long as he possibly can. But if Card really shows out and Casey kind of struggles, I I think that's just a sign of things to, potential things to come at that point. And also, you also got to consider what kind of a player Casey is. Everything that we've both seen and read is that Casey is more of a gamer at quarterback. If you think back to, I mean, really the first time that Texas fans started talking about Casey Thompson was the last spring game he played in, which was 2019. Sam was the clear starter, but I remember Casey came in. I wasn't on the show yet, but I can even visualize that y'all had like a spring game recap, and like on the thumbnail it was Casey Thompson because I remember he had such like a pop off game, and people were like, "Oh my God, this guy
Yeah.
looks really good."
Yeah.
This guy he's a gamer. I mean, really, he's looked good in every game that he's played in as a Longhorn. And in practice, from what we're hearing and what we've heard, over the years, he can have good days and bad days and kind of varies a bit. So to me, like, also if he's not the clear number one or is outperforming Card, that's even a bigger sign to me that, like, not only is he in practice, from what we're hearing, not looking like the most consistent, quote unquote, better quarterback, but if he's not showing out when the lights are the brightest and when he typically shows out the best, that's even a further indication that, hey, this may not be a good sign. So long story short, I think, of course, I want whatever to happen, like I want the best player to be our quarterback. I don't have any strong preferences over one or the other. I mean, they both seem like good guys. Card's really talented. He'll be fun to watch. Casey, I love his story. I love his long journey that he's been on here at Texas. So I'm really cool with whoever's our starter. But from a selfish fan perspective, I want both of them to remain on the team. And to me, the best way of that happening is with Casey ultimately being the starter and for the competition to be close and not Hudson's pulling away here and giving Casey the inclination that he may need to transfer. So, thoughts on that?
I like that. I see what you're saying with having Casey ball out in the sense that it gives him some room, and it also gives like Hudson some room too,
Yes.
right? Instead
Yes.
of the other way around is basically what you're getting at, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I would be happy with that scenario too. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good point, Trevor. And actually, now that I think about it, that's probably what I would want to happen. But also, I'm just like a Hudson Card truther, and I
Right.
just love watching that kid play. I watch his highlights all the time, just like on YouTube. Like I can't get enough of his highlights. So, but yeah, I mean, from a roster management, health standpoint, and everything like that, it just makes sense to reassure Casey that he's the guy. He's going to be the guy. I mean, obviously, Sark's not going to name anybody right now, but like we said, at least in his brain, let him think, yeah, I can better than Hudson. This is my job to win. Because I was talking with my dad about Casey Thompson and him potentially transferring, and there's a lot of schools in the Big 12 that he could start at. A lot of Power 5 schools he could start at immediately.
Easily.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's just kind of. I'd rather keep Casey happy because, in the event that Casey does win the job and he runs away with it, like we're speculating that could happen. I'm not going to say it's going to happen or anything like that, but I think it's more likely that Card will stick around another year than Casey. I mean, 100%. I don't think.
Right.
That's probably a more likely scenario. I mean, that man's from Austin. He grew up a Longhorn, and he's younger. Like his clock's a lot younger. Casey's almost in a contract year coming up, so that's kind of the difference there and the urgency. So yeah, I mean, I would be happy to see Casey run away with it. But I have a feeling, like I've been saying, me and Madrid, I have a feeling Hudson Card's just going to outplay him on Saturday. So we'll see.
Perfect.
Definitely be one of the top things to watch out for.
Mm-hmm.
Be unavoidable to watch out for. So let's move on then. Unless anyone has any final thoughts,
I'm good.
We'll hop over to offensive line. Madrid, how about you? What are you looking for in terms of our offensive line?
Mainly just one, maybe I guess three if you're counting people, but like two things really. Is health. I just want to leave this game with a healthy O-line. That'd be nice. And primarily, I just want to see growth out of Carriage and Christian Jones. I think those are the future of our O-line, and hopefully, also Denzel Okafor plays out well. I just feel for these older guys that have been through like three coordinators. That's got to be tough to learn a new system like 3 years out of your eligibility. So yeah, so mainly just the growth out of the younger guys and just get out of there healthy. What do you think?
Myers, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously health is number one, but yeah, I mean, the kind of the others, because when you think about the O-line, you think Christian Jones, Carriage, Majors, Angular, those are kind of like the bona fide dudes there right now.
Yeah.
Denzel Okafor as well. He's really come on this spring, but I want to see like Tope, Hookfin, Tyler Johnson. I mean, you're hearing good things about Hayden Connor early on. Rafiti Girmay. I want to see how they look. Kyle Flood is coming in with – he's by far the best offensive line coach we've had since the Mac era. So I just want to see like guys coached up. And it's going to be frustrating because we're not going to be able to really see the first O-line, I don't think, because like we said, Sark's going to divide the team in half. So, I mean, maybe he'll make an exception for the O-line since it's so important to have them playing together at all times. But if we do get to see the first O-line, I just want to see how they handle the pressure. Ray Thornton, guys like that who are getting a lot of praise for causing disruption. I want to see how their tackles handle that. But, with offensive line and defensive line in scrimmage, it's hard – in scrimmages, it's hard to, say limit sacks, produce good runs because everything's happening at the expense of the other side. So someone's losing all the time. So, I mean, maybe a stalemate would be good for the offensive line, just to show the competence. But, yeah, I want to see the depth, obviously, depth and health. Those are the two things that will come back and grade here in the recap.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, all the same sentiments as y'all. What I'll be watching the most is just the tackle play, really looking at the outsides because I'm feeling pretty good about our internal, the inside of our line in terms of our center and two guards. Those seem to be the most solidified. As the tackles, I'm feeling good about Carriage. I think he's a really talented player, and I'm starting to hear more and more about him in these spring practices. And, I mean, he performed really well for us at the end of the year too. But yeah, that left tackle position just seems to be a rotating door at the moment. Christian Jones, from what I've heard, he's had flashes, but he hasn't consistently, really taken a stranglehold of the job. So really just all the tackle play, because I guarantee we're going to see a bunch of different guys at those positions, and just watching and seeing if we see like a clear cut guy, or if they're all equal footing. That won't be too exciting to see if everyone's equally struggling at the position, but yeah, definitely kind of one of the bigger question marks on the offensive side of the ball for this upcoming season. Anything else, or should we shift over to running backs?
I'm good.
Running backs. Madrid, we'll start with you again. What are you looking for?
Yeah. Basically, I want one big Bijan run, and that's it. That's literally it. And pull him out and let Roshan, Danny, and all the newer guys get in and just rotate him in that way. I mean, granted, I'm pretty sure Roshan and Bijan will probably be on opposite teams.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so mainly I guess just see Roshan, because I feel like he's gonna be splitting more carries with him this season than we think. But yeah, give me that one big Bijan run, and I'll be happy, and put him in bubble wrap for the rest of the game. There we go.
Yeah, I'm with you. Definitely keep Bijan healthy is the number one priority, really, for the entire team, I think, because he's definitely our best player. But I also want to see the running backs in the pass game, or just really any way that Sark gets them the ball, because you always hear about, whenever you talk about a Sark offense, his ability to get the running backs the ball in space, and just in unique ways, whether it's out of the slot or counters or outside zones, stuff like that. That's going to be a lot more variety for Bijan than we did with Herman. So I think it'll be really good for Bijan and Roshan. So I just want to see really the schemes that we utilize to, feature the running backs more. And then, yeah, obviously keeping Bijan healthy. That's number one goal.
Yeah, Myers, my thoughts echo exactly the same. I'm very curious to see these schemes with these running backs, and I'm sure it's going to be like a very watered down version of that. I mean, it's a spring game. Anyone can watch this thing, including opposing teams. So they're going to be pretty mild and vanilla, but it still will be really cool to see Bijan or Roshan be able to line up in different positions, or even go out in the slot. Just the thought of that gets me incredibly excited to see Bijan just shift outside and then point at the referee to make sure he's on the line. That just that gets me excited. But
give me that.
Yeah. But I'm also really excited to see Danny Young. We haven't seen him because he sat out for the COVID year. And he's not a bad guy either. Like he was a pretty bona fide starter his freshman year, and then of course once Keontae and Roshan, came on, he kind of became a third string guy. But he definitely is a serviceable back, to say the least, and senior, plenty of experience. Now has a year of rest, so he's got fresh legs. So I'm curious to see him as well. And I know that he's not a bad pass catcher either. Now that I'm thinking back to his freshman season, I know that he caught a few passes from Sam that year. Kind of a different offense than what Herman ran the following 3, I guess, seasons of his tenure. So yeah, excited to see Danny, and then some of the other younger guys too that we don't know as well. See if any of them pop. And just Roshan, because they keep hyping up Roshan, and I think it more has to do with just Roshan's attitude and leadership. Because when you're a new coaching staff, that's who you gravitate to, is who are the leaders. And once we find a leader, let's really hype him up and kind of groom him into being like a captain type figure. I'm curious if they're really high on not just who he is, because we all know that Roshan's fantastic as a human being and a team leader, but see him as a football player in this offense as well. So, now let's talk about the one room that we're most shaky about, the wide receivers.
Yeah.
This time, let's start with Myers. What are on your wish lists?
Yeah, so
do
we
you
think
see
we
from
know
him?
what we have in obviously Joshua Moore and Jordan Whittington, but I want to see 2 to 3 other guys really not just flash, but put a consistent like product together on Saturday where they make multiple good plays, reliable plays, not liabilities. And I'm looking mainly at like Kelvontae Dixon and Marcus Washington and Troy O'Meary if he plays. Those are the guys that we think can be like next up and kind of blend in as starters down the line. And they have a lot of talent, but they just have failed to put it together. Kelvontae is young, so obviously you can't fault him too much. But like Marcus Washington, for example, I want to see. I mean, it's like a contract year for him too. So we need to definitely see the sake of this offense. I mean, think about those Alabama offenses with all those receivers they had. We don't have anything close to that right now. So we definitely need to see guys step up. And yeah, 2 to 3 other guys stepping up at wide receiver that make me feel more comfortable heading into summer and fall about the receiver room. That's what I want to see.
Like that. Yeah, pretty much the same thing for me. You talk about having like how Alabama has those has 5, 6 or whatever just waiting in the depth chart. Yeah, I mean I would like something like that too. Probably not as realistic, but having a stable, just like good serviceable receivers, seeing that. Also interested to see like how Sark divides those guys up on different teams. That would be interesting to see as well. See who he's vibing with. Yeah, but just having that stable of serviceable receivers are definitely things I'm looking for. Other than that, I'm pretty curious to see how what kind of sets they're gonna be running and how often. I doubt we'll see. Obviously, it's gonna be vanilla, but I don't know. Are we gonna see a receiver in the backfield maybe once? So we're gonna see how kind of motions are we gonna see with these guys. That's the main thing. I'm hoping for. I'm wishing to see that type of variety. I kind of doubt it though, but I'm with you with that Marcus Washington and Cavante Dixon sentiment. I hope it's Marcus, but I've been looking up Dixon a lot more recently. I really love his speed and what he's going to be for us. But yeah, those two guys and kind of sets for running definitely on my wish list for sure. Trevor?
Yep, same thing for me. Yeah, really excited to see the schemes as well for these wide receivers. I better see some pre-snap motion, or I'm going to be
I
incredibly
better see it.
upset. That's like one thing that you know that you're watching a Sark offense is if you start seeing that. And we've seen it in a few leaked clips of practice, so I'm sure they're going to show it at least a few times. Again, that'll get me pretty excited. In terms of personnel. Yeah, I mean, we all know that Whittington. I do want to see Whittington flash because we really haven't seen much of it ourselves. I mean, he's only really played in what, like 4 games, maybe, if that, in his career at Texas. Really hasn't played in a lot. So even though we know he's talented,
No memorable
hearing about how great he is in practice, I want to see something, something out of him. Something that really makes me go, "Oh shoot, wow!" Because I know he can play, and we've all heard about it. And of course, you don't want to. You want to be just as gentle with him as you are with Bijan, especially considering his injury history. But still, I want to see something out of him. It'd be nice to see Josh Moore, flexing around, getting some nice catches, building some confidence. And kind of becoming a more solidified number 1 type receiver. Some consistency with him. And then last thing that I want to see is I want to see some burners. I want to see guys get left into dust and really just take off. Like a Marcus Washington or a Jaden Alexis or obviously Dixon. Sark, his offense really favors speed. Much more so than Herman's, which was more about big bodies and bodying people up. I want to see some go routes. I want to see I want to see one long, at least a couple long touchdown passes. If I don't see at least one, I'm going to be very concerned. Yeah, but those are definitely some things that I think are important that we see in this spring game. See a little bit of fireworks, it's Sark's first game. They got to generate some excitement.
Yeah.
Let's have some long touchdown passes,
Give me something to get excited about for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I forgot to mention also, this is kind of receiver. It's just really offense based, but mainly receivers. Is the RPO game. I want to see a lot of
Oh
RPO
yeah,
game. I love RPOs. I think it's like I've always said, it's kind of unbeatable when you run it the
game
right
changer.
way. So I want to see us execute it with the receivers and the quarterbacks on the same page. And yeah, hopefully our receivers can run those nice slants and deep slants that they run at Bama so cleanly. I want to see some of that out of our guys.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Tight ends. Tight ends. We all know what we want to see. I think we're all in agreement that number 18, we want to see number 18, even though number 80 seems to be getting a lot of the talk this spring. Madrid, how about you? Expand on that.
You all know me. I'm a Jared Wiley man, and I'll go to my grave with that. Other than that, I just want to see our tight ends be used more than just big extra linemen. Basically, I just want to see this offense look evolved and a little more modern, and I think we will see it. Yeah, just them being used more as receivers instead of blockers primarily.
Myers.
Yeah, when Sark arrived on campus, we kind of figured that Cade Brewer will be shown the door now because that's kind of a Herman guy. It was in his transition class, one of Herman's first commits at Texas. And, Herman's in a ride or die with the guy that's been there with him, seniority. But Sark shows up and he's like, Myers, you idiot! I'm gonna roll with Cade Brewer some more. This guy's good, and Sark's had great praise for him, and I'm hoping that Torrey Beckton's new training program, where we're focused more on mobility and explosiveness, will really benefit Cade Brewer because he was way more mobile, like I've said, as a freshman, and you could see it in the games. He'd be run cleaner routes, just more athletic. It was a threat in the passing game, and I'm hoping we can see some of that in the spring game again. But yeah, apparently we're running a lot of 12 personnel in practice, which is, surprising. I didn't think we'd be doing that, but it kind of speaks to Sark's vision of our receiver room, like juxtaposed to our tight end room. Our tight end room is probably healthier, pound for pound, than the receiver room right now. So I just want to see how the 12 personnel looks. Yeah, I want to see Cade Brewer in the passing game, and solid blocking on the tight ends. But mainly, I just want to see competent tight end play. It's not that simple, honestly. I just want to see good tight end play.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how he plays with tight ends. Like, we've seen it watching Alabama's offense and everything. But again, I'm curious if he's going to have them be like a focal point of our passing game, or just more of a on the side type thing. Just curious to see how much action they end up getting. And then, of course, like, I don't know. I'm curious to compare Wiley to Brewer, because again, Brewer's been getting all. I don't even think he's mentioned Jared Wiley's name all spring, which is surprising. But so I'm curious if like Brewer's gonna look that much better than Wiley, or if Wiley's struggling for some reason. I don't know. I want to see what that's all about. And then just the depth, these younger guys like Leibrock or Gunnar Helm. Curious to see the new guys in the shadows, see if they make any big plays. I like Leibrock a lot. Obviously needed development over his, after his freshman year and everything. So I'm curious to see if he's put on some more muscle and continue to improve. But I think he's got a bright future here at Texas. Next position then. Well, really that's it for the offense. How about final thoughts before we move on to defense?
Yeah. One thing I want to see out of the offense as well, and you mentioned Braden Leibrock. I don't think he's playing. I think he's still shelved with an injury, but yeah, I do like him as well. So hopefully in the fall we see him make some plays. But yeah, I just want to see some of the early enrollees on offense. Specifically, I'm talking about Jaden Alexis and Gunnar Helm. Those two guys, y'all have opportunities, especially Jaden Alexis with the receiver room looking so bad, to go out and make plays and earn some clout, and honestly just push for like a starting job, or at least to be in the rotation, because there's not that much in that room right now that's taking control of jobs. There's job openings. So I want to see some of the young guys flash, and also Charles Wright from Austin High. I want to see him be competent enough where doomsday scenario we have to put in Charles Wright against at Arkansas. That I mean, obviously we're probably not going to win in that scenario, but at least just good enough to have a chance to win with Bijan running the ball. So I want to see Charles Wright look all right, and a lot of the other early enrollees, you show some skill.
Mine's just final thoughts. Mine's just simple. Just want to see progress, competency. Like new systems always scare me because they take forever to install. But I just want to see where we're at now. Hopefully, it is pretty good along the way.
Yeah, I'm curious to see kind of who's the leader. Especially with these quarterbacks. Just watching the two different offenses compete against each other. Who's vibing better with the rest of the team? Who seems not just in terms of play, but the little nuances and cues that you see. Who is looking like because you can tell, generally you can tell.
Yeah.
And it still might be a little bit early to tell. Obviously, neither of them were previous year's starters, so they're both new. But I don't know. I'm curious. That's probably what I'm looking for the most. Is just chemistry between these two teams. Who's vibing better? Okay, so now we're gonna hop over to the defensive side of the ball. So let's start with our defensive line. Myers, what do you want to see out of our D linemen?
Yeah, I want to see them slow down Bijan. I want to limit, and it's really a front seven thing. I want to limit big Bijan plays because if you're able to slow down Bijan, that means you're a pretty good defense, at least in the trenches and up front and linebackers, especially in the D-line. And, yeah, I mean, a lot of guys in the D-line that I want to see step up. I mean, Jacoby Jones comes to mind that, we've been hearing great things. I guess he's more of an edge rusher, but still I want to see him, I want to see what all the hype's about. And then also other guys like Moro Ojimo, other guys, that have been in the mix but haven't really become stars or anything like that, but they've played solid minutes for us. I mean, Keandre Coburn comes to mind. I always hear people talking about him being great, but I mean, I don't think he's been anywhere near Puna Ford level.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see him get, next level up, and because it's super needed for Coach K's defense. So really, yeah, Keandre Coburn. And then I want to see Keandre Coburn play a lot better than he has in years past, and I want to see us limit big Bijan runs.
Nice. Mainly what I want to see is Vernon and Alfred flash. I just want them to show us why they were so highly coveted during the recruiting process. We got flashes of them towards the end of last year. But I just want to see a little bit more of a leap personally. They're going to be the main guys in the trenches anyways. And then secondly, I just want to see some of the older guys. I kind of mentioned this with the I already forgot who we were talking about. On offense when I said this, but these guys have been through a lot of coordinators, especially defense. I just want to see Coburn and Ojimo just take to this defense. Kind of quickly, because I think it's kind of critical for us and PK's defense showing because of how dependent it is on absorbing blocks and everything. But yeah, I just want to see them take to it pretty nicely. That'd be the main thing I want to see. Trevor?
Yeah, I mean all the players I'm definitely curious about seeing from the highly talked about guys like Coburn and Collins to some of the number twos type players. Very curious to see how they play, but I think I'm even more curious and this goes for the defense as a whole, just seeing how the scheme works again. I feel like I said that with offense, which I did, but I mean it's new, so I'm very curious to see how it works. Just curious to see how the D linemen. I mean, I know formation, how they're I'm familiar with what it's going to look like, but I also want to know like what kind of an impact these inside offensive linemen are. Are they just eating blocks, kind of like Todd Orlando's defensive line, and didn't really do much other than eat blocks, or are we going to see some playmaking out of them? Because we know the outside linebackers, the Jacoby Jones, the Ray Thorntons of the world, those guys are supposedly going to flash, and that also could just be that our tackles are kind of the weak spot of our offensive line, so maybe that's part of it too. But yeah, I'm just curious to see how these internal guys, like, are they being double teamed the entire time? Are they not doing much, or are they actually getting some penetration and stopping runs, like Myers said? So just seeing how they play, and then just seeing the depth of players and seeing who flashes. I mean, pretty generic stuff, really. But again, really with defense as a whole, I just want to see how the full clock per se works in terms of Coach K's defensive scheme.
Definitely.
Linebackers then, unless you had anything to add, Myers. I mean, Madrid.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No worries.
I'm good.
Linebackers, inside and outside. Myers, what do you think?
Yeah, a lot of things at linebacker that I want to see. That's kind of one of the big question mark positions on the team. One, obviously, I want to see David Benda. A lot of hype out of him, a guy that I've been waiting to pop off, and apparently it's happening now. He had an interview with the media after one practice, and he looks like a really smart, bright guy. So I think that he's in for a big year if he stays the course, and I want to see it. I mean, he's super athletic for a linebacker. I mean, he's kind of small, but he plays big and he's really fast. So, yeah, I want to see some good stuff out of Benda, and then obviously Ray Thornton. I guess you can lump him more into edge rushers. He might have his hand in the dirt more than not, or at least be on the line more than not. But I want to see what Ray Thornton's about because, he's also another guy like Jacoby Jones that's been a lot of hype around him. Like I think I read an Inside Texas or somewhere that he's going to be a dude next year from some sources saying he's going to be one of our best players. So I want to see it. I mean, he looks like a man, NFL man out there. So, yeah, I just want to see him put it together. And then other guys behind them. I mean, Luke Brockermeyer comes to mind. He's a guy that he's had like some ridiculous amount of interceptions or forced turnovers out of nowhere in practice. And he's a guy that the staff really seems to like. I want to see him look like an actual scholarship player, not like a walk-on because, I mean, we've seen Mason Ramirez in there. He looked like a walk-on. We've seen Kai Money in there. He looked like a walk-on. Court Jaquez, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He kind of looked like more of a scholarship player. So I want to see that over Brockermeyer. And, I mean, he's got the bloodlines. I mean, his dad was a beast here at Texas. His brothers are playing at Bama, highly rated guy. So he's got the DNA. So I want to see him put it together and then maybe be a contributor for us in the fall. But, yeah, I mean, Marcus Tillman, I haven't heard much about him in forever, but he was a guy that was hyped in when he came in. So really just I want to see everything at linebacker. I just want to see our linebackers look good with DeMarvion out, and I want to see like the guys behind him, like Brockermeyer, take advantage of that and look good in their reps.
Pretty much the same for me. Just want to see what we got behind Overshown. Guys like Benda, obviously, big time hype is coming into the spring. So I just want to see someone take a step forward, especially on both sides since they're going to be divided up. Jacoby Jones, really excited to see him rush. Been hearing good things about him. And just to keep us concise, is Prince Dorba. Had the coolest name we've ever recruited at this university.
The Nigerian Prince.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on now. His name is Prince. So yeah, it's only fitting that he plays linebacker. It's just a cool position. It's a swag name. So yeah, I want to see Prince Dorba take off. Trevor,
all the same thoughts, man. I want to see. Show me the hype, man. Show me the hype.
Show me the hype.
We've been hearing about it for this entire time, pretty much, and I just want to see it. And I want to see. I want to be the judge and see, like, is this because our offensive line is really struggling? Or is our defense actually that good? Hopefully it's the latter and not the first one that I mentioned. But, yeah, just want to see the depth. Want to see how it works, kind of like I said earlier. And also, I've been hearing a little bit of heard some rumblings that apparently Schooler is getting a few looks at inside linebacker.
Why not?
So, yeah, why not? I'm curious if I think his brother actually plays. I know he plays at Tech. I think it's a linebacker. Because he had that big hit on Charlie Brewer, Baylor versus Tech last season. Brewer got like absolutely annihilated at the goal line by his brother. So that's family ties are there. So I want to see if he ends up getting a few looks at linebacker as well, and how he transitions to that. But yeah, same sentiments. Corners.
Matt, you want to take this one first? Whoops, that was loud.
Yeah, I'll take it. So I want to see our corners and really our DBs in general just dominate their assignments with the receivers because, like, on the one hand, I do want our receivers to show, the ability to be serviceable, but it's no secret that one of the strengths of our team is cornerbacks, and one of the weaknesses is receivers right now. So I want to see our cornerbacks take advantage of that because, I mean, we're going to see a lot more advanced receiver rooms in the Big 12. I mean, just think of OU. I mean, TCU's got good receivers. Teams like that, they're going to have better receivers than we have some weeks. So I want to see us, come up to rise to the challenge and just our DBs really dominate the game. And I mean, Josh Thompson, Darian Dunn, Keaton Crawford's a guy that I want to see really pop off. I mean, he looks like, I think, future NFL player. I want to see him finally start putting it together like more consistently. And I mean, like really, it's the hype. Show me the hype. I want to see it in real life. And I want to see our cornerbacks outplay our receivers significantly.
That's well put. I think for me, I'm kind of combine them all into DBs in the secondary for this. Obviously, I want to see Jameson and Thompson continue to make their leaps. Same thing with Keaton Crawford and Darius Dunn. Just you're right about our receivers. This should be like one of the easiest matchups they have. Like they should really be all over them. But my guy, Bijan, I need this guy to be this is my wish. This is actually my number one thing on my wish list. Is I want to see this guy be the dominant safety in the middle of the field. Like, I know it's not really his play style to be that center fielder type. He's more of a run stopper. But for us to be a truly great secondary, I wholeheartedly believe that it begins with him, just because of where he plays at and just at the potential that he has. So yeah, when he's playing well, our defense just gets a whole boost. So yeah, for me in the DBs and in the secondary in general, it's really I just want to see how well that guy's playing because that guy should be our anchor, really. Trevor?
Yeah, BJ Foster, definitely. Again, same sentiments as y'all. I'm most curious about Dunn. It's funny because we tweeted out a video. When was it? Like a few weeks back of Hudson Card tearing up the defense. We're like, oh, look at Card go. And I watched it again today, and I saw a few people comment tweeted as well. And you just see Darian Dunn completely giving up on a play, and Marcus Washington just catching just a easy pass for a touchdown. And there were a few people that commented what the hell is Darian Dunn doing? why'd he give up like that? I mean, he's a senior that transferred here to get serious NFL looks. I promise you that he's not slacking, and if he is, that's disturbing. But yeah, I want to see the new guy in town, school a few guys and show us that, hey, he's big time and he has a spot on this roster, and he's not just a little transfer from a little school, but a very viable player. I want to see Cook. I want to see him flash. He's playing, right? For some reason,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. For some reason, I thought I heard something like he was sitting out, or I don't know. But I want to see some of those guys as well. BJ will be interesting to see because I've heard a lot of things about the positioning that he's going to be in will allow him to really just kind of act on instinct and go after people and headhunt versus what Chris Ash's, which was a lot more about following a particular, coverage pattern or whatever. It was a little bit more structured. This is more of just a free flow. See what the offense gets you and make your choice pretty much. So really, with all of these corners and DBs, I guess since we've kind of clumped it together, I just want to see, that creativity and see players versus plays per se. I know that that's kind of a common term in football, players over plays, and just see these talented guys go and maybe jump some routes against these receivers, maybe get a few interceptions. Obviously not too many. We don't have our quarterbacks, floundering out there, but yeah, I'm excited to see the defensive backs really just kind of take control. And I mean, I feel like that's one of our big seniority groups on the defensive side of the ball. So just want to see that.
Same.
Yeah. Let me add one thing or two things with the defensive backs is I'm going to shout out Jaron Thompson. I want to see him continue the momentum he had against Kansas State and Colorado. He played lights out. Probably our best DB on the field for those games, in my opinion. I want to see him continue playing like that so we can kind of prove that he's the next heir of DBU, which I think he can be. And then also I want to see Tyler Owens. He's apparently spinning down a little bit. So I want to see some improvement there, and I want to see what he looks like in the box, and maybe just even at safety, I want to see him. Maybe he takes better to this system than our last system. So, I mean, the potential's through the roof with that guy, so I want to see what he's got.
Good point. Madrid, anything more?
No, I feel bad for forgetting about Jaron Thompson, but yeah, definitely I want to see that guy too.
Cool. Let's touch real briefly on special teams then. Myers, I'm guessing that you probably know the most. In terms of our punter situation, it sounds like Buchevsky is still out. So we got a new punter in town, also from Australia. How about you touch on him?
Yeah, his name's Isaac Pearson. He's from Australia. I think the story is he was a coal miner, and then he found a football in the mines, and he's like, "I'm gonna
kick the shit out of it."
And then he just kept practicing, and then somehow Herman found him in Australia, and he got the pro kick. And then from pro kick, he found his way to Austin, and he's next in line. Hopefully, he's Michael Dixon 2.0 because Buchevsky's been a little bit, not as good as his cousin, but hopefully Isaac Pearson can, be that Australian prodigy, the return of the prodigy that we've been looking for.
Nice.
I love that he's a blue-collar guy.
This guy get in the trenches for you. He'll play defensive end if you ask him.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he'll hit a few people. He's been in the coal mines, man. He should have went to West Virginia.
For real. Finish off that black lung. Anyway, as long as Dicker's still our kicker, I think we'll be good in late games too. So.
Yeah, it sounds like Dicker's gonna hold fort for that at least for a while. I know that we're getting a new kicker with this incoming class, but it won't be till the summer. So I've heard. And I guess Dicker's starting punter. Probably what we'll see, Myers, correct? Ever since that bowl game?
Yeah, that's what Sark said the other day, that Dicker would be our punter number one right now.
Fascinating.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, cool. And then in terms of return men, obviously Jamison's kind of our designated guy for that. He has been really his whole tenure at Texas. Do we have any ideas of who our number 2 guy would be?
I mean, I don't know, but the guy that I would like to see returning kicks is Josh Thompson. He was great at it in high school at Nacogdoches. I remember watching his highlights, and he's just like one of our fastest dudes. He runs downhill super fast. So I'd like to see Josh Thompson back. Our 2 starting corners at kick returner would be a nasty duo in my opinion.
I think I heard something about Bijan. Am I crazy in saying that?
I hope you are. I want that to happen.
I thought I read something one time where
Hell
it's
no.
like
Say
Sark,
Todd
like
Gurley.
yeah, like Sark. I could be totally wrong with this, but I thought I read somewhere that Sark likes using his star running backs as returners, and that it might be Bijan and Jamison. Myers. Does that have any validity to it, or am I going crazy?
I haven't heard that, but Bijan would be an excellent kick returner, but I'd rather not put him there.
Yeah.
Keep him fresh for the drive. But
Well, because they did that with Saquon and Zeke, right? Wasn't Zeke a return man?
And Reggie Bush. I don't know about Zeke, but Reggie Bush was.
So it's not too outlandish, but still.
You're playing with a loaded gun at that point. You're asking for it.
Right.
Keep them away from there.
Cool. All right, well, let's wrap it up then with how about everyone gives their game MVP predictions in terms of offense and defense? And we all got to pick someone different.
Okay.
How about that? And
Fair
give your logic as for why you're picking set players. So let's start with Madrid.
So I was thinking about this, especially on the defensive side. On the defensive side, I think I'm leaning heavily towards one of the corners, and I'm gonna go with Josh Thompson. I feel like we know what we're gonna get out of Deshaun, but I feel like he could, especially against these receivers, he can feast and get himself an interception, forced fumble, something like that, some good. And then on the offensive side, I think this one's harder because I just feel like they're just going to be a little bit more out of whack, out of like feng shui and stuff like that. But give me Josh Moore just to light it up in the middle of the field, break off some good runs, some good yards after contact, something like that. Just get him moving and make him look like the stud he is. So I'll take Josh Moore and Josh Thompson, both Joshes. There you go.
I like it. Myers?
Yeah. For offense, I already said I expect Hudson Card to have a big day, and I think Hudson Card will be our offensive MVP. And defensively, I think it's going to be Ray Thornton because, in Coach K's system, it tends to be where the edge rushers, get more of the they get a lot of looks at the quarterbacks and running backs and such. So I think one of our edge rushers will be the guy getting, the most impact on a game. And I think it's going to be Ray Thornton or Jacoby Jones, and I'll lean Ray Thornton. He'll make a big splash in his first real outing in burnt orange.
I like it. I'm going to go with the untraditional picks. Because think about it. Spring game, typically the stars, they kind of shine a little bit. But the spring game is more about the twos, the guys that, need to show off their stuff. And I feel like every spring there's always at least one player that we're left talking about, like, oh damn, look out for this guy, and then they don't really show up ever again. Like they have their moment of glory in the spring game. So I'm gonna be a little bit less obvious in my picks. For offense, and I guess this is a viable pick, but for offense, I'm gonna go with Dixon. I think there'll be at least one big splash play out of him. Like I said, I want to see him run a go route, burn a few people for a touchdown. And I think that alone will, show off that highlight reel and get people excited about our receivers, which they need to be, because right now, obviously, everyone's a little concerned. Defense is desire, man. We got a lot of stars on our defensive side, but you know what? Give me Brendan Schooler. They're moving him around, leadership guy, super senior, but still kind of under the radar and down on the depth chart. But the spring, he's made for the spring.
He's meant to
game,
be a
man.
spring game hero.
He's a spring game player, you know.
Yeah.
He's got all the factors lined up for him. Plus, in that video clip that everyone saw of Bijan making that big run, Schooler tracked him down and smashed the living crap out of Bijan, which don't hit him that hard again. If you do that, you can hit all the other players pretty hard, but not Bijan. But that was a good sign to me. Like, hey, dude's got wheels, and B, he's unafraid to hit. And C, they're lining him up in all different positions. I just have an inkling that this guy's going to be that spring game hero that we talk about, that maybe he doesn't show up during the season and talent wins over with these other players, but give me Schooler, man. A little bit of a hot take, but yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah, I like that one. It's a dark horse. Sure.
Dark horse. Well, cool. Any other final thoughts from either of y'all before we wrap this show up?
That wraps it up for me.
Yeah. Are you going, Madrid?
Yeah, I'll be going. I'll be there. Me and my girlfriend are going to drive up. Yeah.
We might all be there then. I'll have to see with myself, but I know Myers is going as well, so yeah. If anyone
there, then hell yeah.
If anyone sees us there, man, feel free
ask for a picture, man. You know, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, if you can, if you want, sure, why not?
I mean, if you want, but like, I'm not expecting.
But come and say hi. Come and say hi. Maybe it's been a while since since we've been in person, us three in general.
It's literally been a year, if not probably not more. Yeah, if not more. It's kind of scary how long it's been.
Yeah. So not only will it be nice to potentially all see each other, but if you watch the show and have watched it for a while and you happen to run into us, don't be afraid to say hi, and maybe we could talk a little ball. Well, we'll see. Mm-hmm. But cool. That'll wrap it up for the show. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you're new here or haven't yet. Again, as Myers said, we're on that goal for 3K subscribers come September 11th, the Arkansas game. So share with friends and allow this thing to grow, and we're going to continue to provide y'all more content. We got a lot of really exciting, fun video ideas for the off season up ahead. We're starting to kind of hammer out some ideas, and not just talking Texas football, but also just some exciting topics. You know, stuff to get you excited about some off season time. So with that, we're going to sign off. Everyone stay safe, travel safe to the spring game if you're going. If not, enjoy it on LHN. And peace and love to you, just like Madrid says. Where's that?